It's been a hot summer, and for most of you adults, you're going to want to crack open a cold one. Today we're going to tell you how you can explore those new tastes of breweries on the Finger Lakes Beer Trail tonight on Twin Tier Sunday.
You're watching Twin Tier Sunday with Jennifer Sheahen.
Welcome to Twin Tier Sunday. It is the summer season, and on a nice hot day, you want to enjoy something cold, right?
Yes.
That's right. All right, well, today we're going to talk about the Finger Lakes Brew Trail, and Teresa Hollister is here. She's going to tell us all about the organization and how it got started. Go ahead.
Sure. Well, the Finger Lakes Beer Trail actually started 3 years ago in May of 2011. And when we started the trail, there were 24 microbreweries in the region. And today we've got over 70.
Wow.
So that gives you kind of an idea of how much the craft brewing industry has grown in our area.
Definitely. Now, why is it that you took up to be kind of head this beer trail and actually make it something for tourists to come and do?
Well, we realized that there was an increased interest in what's called beer tourism, and that people were traveling to the region to explore the different craft breweries that were here. And my friend at the time, my business partner now, Adam Smith, and I realized that there was a need for marketing and promotion and exposure to these craft breweries on the level of what the wineries were getting or do get from the Finger Lakes Wine Trail.
Yeah.
So we decided that the combination of my background in marketing and public relations, his background in web design and graphic design, we realized that we just happened to have the perfect blend of skills and experience to launch something like the Finger Lakes Beer Trail and make it a success.
That's great. Tell me some of the highlights of the trail, and I guess what people should look out for, or how they can get in touch and get involved with, hey, you know what, I'm coming from New York City, I want to get on that trail.
Sure.
What can they do to kind of get that basic information?
The best place to start is our website, fingerlakesbeertrail.com. And on our website, we've got a copy of our map. We've got both an interactive map as well as a copy of our print map that they can download and print. We've got sample itineraries because the Finger Lakes Beer Trail is different than the wine trails. The wine trails are actually set up around the outskirts of each lake, whereas the Finger Lakes Beer Trail is much larger. It goes about 210 miles across the center part of New York State, encompassing Rochester to Syracuse and then down through the southern tier, Binghamton, Elmira, Corning, Horseheads. So it's not the type of trail that you can do in one day, and especially with 70 locations. Obviously, you can't hit 70 locations in one day trip. So we do have sample itineraries on our website that do break the trail down into mini excursions. And we've also got a listing of transportation partners on our website with different limo companies and bus companies that offer beer tours, chauffeured beer tours. And then we've also got links to some lodging partners, so if people are looking for a place to stay while they're here.
That's great. Now, how much, I don't know if you can answer this or not, how much does it cost for a chauffeured tour of a beer trail?
I believe that if you're looking at something like a sedan for maybe just 2 or 4 people, I think it's about in the $200 range for, like a 6-hour excursion.
Too bad. So you had started off with many less breweries. Now you're up to 70. How is it then a brewery gets involved with the trail? Do they contact you, or is it vice versa? How does that work?
It can go either way. There's no cost for the breweries to be part of the beer trail. We want to be as all-encompassing as possible and make sure that every brewery in the region is on our map. They can then choose to become a member of the trail, which then entitles them to some additional marketing features and advantages on our website and also on our print map. And you know, if I hear about a new brewery, I'll reach out to them. More likely than not, they're reaching out to us first.
Great.
Usually when they break ground, you know, even when they just stick that shovel in the ground, they'll reach out to us and let us know that they're breaking ground on a new brewery, and you know it's going to be a year out before they're open, but they at least want us to know so that we can get them, you know, at least get them in the system.
That's great. And there's lots of new breweries opening up as well. Do you think there's anything to do with some of the new legislation being passed in Albany to help these small breweries? Why don't you go ahead and tell me a little bit about, you know, what's going on right now in order to make their business kind of bloom right now?
Sure. I think that the growth that we've seen has been a great response to the Farm Brewery Bill of 2012 that was put through by Governor Cuomo. And that Farm Brewery Bill is actually modeled after the Farm Winery Bill of 1976, which is why we have the wine trails, which is why we have the wine industry that we have today. And the Farm Brewery Bill encourages local breweries to utilize local products, local hops, local barley, local ingredients in their beer, and in exchange for doing so, they get reduced fees, less red tape. It's much easier and quicker to open a brewery if they decide to go the farm brewery route. All of the new breweries that have been opening up in the last year are coming on board as farm breweries. So that's definitely an indication that this new legislation from a couple years ago has really spurred the interest in the growth in this industry. And it's not just in the microbrewing industry that we're seeing growth, because there is the requirement that they need to use a certain percentage of local products. We're now also seeing growth in agriculture industries such as hops farming, barley malting. You know, so it's much bigger than just the brewing industry itself.
That's wonderful. It's definitely a blooming industry. It's a great thing too. And now when I was visiting different breweries in the area, they were telling me another piece of legislation that has just been passed where they can actually serve like pint-sized glasses and not just the tastings.
Yes, that's a component actually of the Farm Brewery Bill that does allow them to serve pints of beer, sell pints of beer at their location, like you said, and also to be able to sell containers, closed containers of beer, such as growlers and bottles of beer at different events, such as farmers markets and things like that.
That is wonderful. Now, what are your favorite things about the trail? Since you started this, I mean, you must have a great passion for brew. Let me tell you.
I've probably gained about 20 pounds in the last 3 years since we started the trail just from drinking beer.
Yeah.
I think my favorite things about the trail, couple of things. The people are wonderful. There is such an incredible camaraderie amongst the brewing community. The brewers themselves, the camaraderie amongst them is just a really wonderful thing to experience and to witness, especially when you go to a beer fest and I watch the brewers from the different breweries, you know, they're like a brotherhood or a sisterhood, and they come together and they love to share their new recipes, new things that they're trying, and you know, bounce ideas off of each other and taste each other's new product. And so that's probably the thing that I enjoy the most. But I also, obviously, I'm a craft beer aficionado, so I like to go out, I like to taste the different beers. That's one of the reasons actually why craft beer is so popular, is people enjoy the fact that you can get something that you can't get anywhere else.
Yep.
And so I like going out and tasting the different varieties and something special they've got on tap, you know, right now that maybe they'll never have on tap again.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. I mean, it's like, you know, you may go to Target or Walmart or, you know, wherever, but now it's a way for people to kind of have their senses heightened and locally made things. It's a wonderful thing that I think is starting to come back again. Locally produced products is absolutely it was a wonderful experience going out to these breweries. After the break, you're going to see some of those breweries, how they work, how they run from top to bottom, their highlights, and the brewers themselves. It was an incredible few days of getting to know them. And thank you so much, Teresa, for joining me in this first portion. You have to make sure you watch so you can see the other 2 portions about the brewers, okay?
Thank you very much.
I look forward to going online and making my own little map and going and having some fun as well.
Yes, thank you.
No
thank
problem.
You very
Anytime.
Much.
All right, we'll see you right after the break.
Twin Tier Sunday will return in a moment.
Locally grown, locally produced, and good to the last drop.
Okay, this is an auger feeder. Our grains are fed into the mash tun, and we feed our processed water into the mash tun at the same time, and it's all mixed up with a rake down inside.
A motto you might say is carrying Horseheads Brew Company to the top as the company expands even more.
Yeah, actually our chili pepper beer, our Hot Halahai, it's rated number 7 in the country, and our pumpkin ale is rated number 5.
And the hard work pays off as Horseheads Brewing Company rakes in the awards to show it.
All right, well, on this part of the tour, we're at Horseheads Brewing, and now we're going to explain a little bit about what it's like and everything like that. Why don't you go ahead and tell me what you do here?
Actually, I'm the co-owner. My wife is the other part owner. I'm the brewer, and we've been doing this going on 7 years. July 3rd will be our 7-year anniversary.
Wow, that's incredible. Now, how long, I guess, have you been sending your stuff across the state?
For the first couple years, we did our own distribution. We were very small at that point in time. We've gone to a much bigger brew system, and we produce a lot more beer than we did back then. Back then, we were doing maybe 200 barrels. Now we have the capability to do about 1,800.
Holy cow. Now, tell me a little bit about what your specialties are here and why people might want to come here on the Brew Trail.
Well, for one thing, you're going to get some good quality craft beer. We have a diverse variety of beer. We go from a cream ale all the way up to a chili pepper beer. And a lot of our beers are nationally ranked. We have 2 actually in the top 10 in the country. Our pumpkin and our Hot Halahai are rated in the top 10.
That's great. Now, can you show me maybe 2 or 3 of your favorites that you have from right here behind you?
Well, I mean, they're all good. I'm an IPA drinker, so I really prefer the IPA. Domination Ale is a barley wine. It's 12%. That's aged in the barrels, which you saw back there. Chili pepper beer, it's very popular. Now we're getting into the summer season, so we're getting some of the fruit beers. We got a blueberry ale, which we actually ferment with local berries.
Wow.
And then we're going to come out with a peach wheat and a regular wheat. And we have a German Hefeweizen coming out here on this Saturday, actually.
Beautiful. All right. Is there anything else, I guess, that you'd like to tell people so they come out here and try everything that you got?
You want to come in and try some good beer? Come to Horseheads Brewing.
Wonderful. Now, if they ask for a tour, can they possibly get a tour?
We do not do tours right now. We're only insured for the retail area.
Perfect. All right. Wonderful. And then growlers. You have them here then?
We have growlers. Yeah, we have mini growlers, which are 32 ounces. Then we have the 64-ounce growler, which is a half gallon. And then we have them in various assorted sizes and shapes and everything else. And then we sell a lot of glassware also. We pretty much bottle all of our beer. So you can get the 22-ounce bottles of our product here or at many of the local stores throughout the area.
Great. And how much is a tasting?
Tasting, we charge $2 for a tasting, and you get to try 8 beers, 2-ounce samples. So you get 16 ounces of beer for a couple bucks.
Great. All right. Definitely a place that you're going to have to come try while you're on the Brew Trail. Stay tuned because you're going to see many more breweries coming up.
Twin Tier Sunday will return in a moment.
Owner of Upstate Brewing Company, Ken Wardson, was in the middle of making a fresh batch of brew when we arrived. He explained how the best ingredients can make all the difference.
And what it is barley, and then it's malted. So it's allowed to germinate, and it's kilned for a period of time. Kiln it for a longer periods of time, it kind of get darker, almost like a coffee type of color, and kind of aroma that will come off of it.
I didn't realize how much of a science experiment brewing can be.
While it's boiling in there, we're adding hops. And when you add hops early in the boil, you get bitterness and not much aroma. If you add it late in the boil, you get lots of aroma and not much bitterness.
Oh, really?
And in between, you get varying degrees of flavors and bitterness and aroma. So all during the boil, we're adding different types of hops, different blends of hops for different quantities and different amounts of time in order to get us the bitterness and flavors and aromas that you get from hops. Stuff like grapefruity type of flavor, piney flavor, grassy aroma, floral aroma. All of that comes from hops when you get that in beer.
From top to bottom, the beer you enjoy is handcrafted and made with a unique style.
When I start collecting it out of the mash tun, when we start collecting that wort, it kind of gets what's called the first runnings. So that's kind of got the most fermentable sugars in it. And then you get the last runnings right at the end when you get the last bit of wort out of the mash. So as you can see, it's much lighter, there's less fermentable sugars. Then we kind of take a sample of the entire thing. And then after it's done boiling, we take another sample. And what I'm trying to see there is what the specific gravity is for the wort. So how much fermentable sugars are actually in there. In a nutshell, to see how well of a job I did brewing.
We're here at Upstate Brewing in Elmira, New York. Go ahead and tell me a little bit about your brewery, why you got started, and I guess why you chose Elmira as your home destination.
Well, we're from Elmira Horseheads, so we wanted to brew beer in our hometown. And we got into brewing beer a few years ago, and we love making beer. So it's sure beats sitting in a cubicle too. So.
Now, who are the other owners of your brewery?
There was myself and my partner, Mark.
Perfect. Tell me some of the highlights about why people should come here and which brews are the best.
Well, our most popular brew is Common Sense Ale. That's definitely our most favorite. It's a beer that's based off a recipe I found in a 100-year-old brewer's manual. So it's kind of the Bud Light of its day, but with a little bit more to it. So that's one of the reasons why it's more popular. But then we also have our Summer Haze, Summer Wheat, and we have a new beer, XPA, that's going out right now. So come down and try new beer. And when you're here, you can see everything in action on it. We're here brewing beer, and you can see everything that's going on right through all the windows. So.
It's really cool. What time are you guys open? How much does it cost for a tasting, I guess, or can people come actually have a pint?
Well, tastings are free. So our hours are Thursday and Friday, 2 to 6, and Saturday, noon to 4. And while they can't have a pint yet, the new brewery legislation that's just going through will give us the ability to do that. So
that's what I keep hearing from all the different breweries, that this legislation can actually be a big boost for you guys. It's really great. How does it feel to be part of the brew trail that is kind of becoming a big thing to do around here?
It's an awesome thing to see. We grew up around here. We saw the wine trails kind of take off during the 90s. And now it feels like we're a part of something just like that, So it's really awesome to see. And the way we kind of put it is that rising tide lifts all boats. So we see this just lifting all of these breweries, and we're kind of all working together, and it's just really awesome.
All right, welcome back. I'm on the last leg of my journey on the Finger Lakes Brewing Trail, and I'm here in Horseheads at the Birdland Brewery. Tell me a little bit about why you got started and opened this guy up. It is absolutely gorgeous inside of this brewery.
Thank you. About 23 years ago, I bought my husband a beer making kit for Father's Day, for his very first Father's Day, and it's been something that we've been doing for a very long time. He's always wanted to do this as his full-time job. He's still working at his other job at this point. But we just decided to try it and just do something very, very small. Started with a very small system. We're on our third expansion at the moment. We're expanding again this summer. And it's going great. We absolutely love it. We love making beer, love working with the people. It's the best job I've ever had.
That's wonderful. Now, tell me a little bit about the program that you have going on with the Chemung County, the River Friends.
So they came to us and asked us if we want to do a partnership, and we partnered with them, and they helped us with a lot of advertising and promotional things. And we, in turn, give them back portions of the sale of the Osprey, which is a special beer that we made for them. It's made with New York State grains and New York State hops. And a portion of the sales go back to them to help keep the river clean. We also have a special growler that we made for them, and a portion of the sales of that also go back to them.
Wonderful. All right, now really quickly, you said you wanted to have me try. I haven't tried any brews for you guys yet, so I think it's about time. It's been a long week, right? All right, let's go ahead and choose, I guess, what you're known for, the 3 most famous or 2 most famous beers that you kind of want people to come here and say, you know what, when you come here, you need to try this.
Well, why don't we start with the Osprey? That's the one.
Beautiful.
That has,
all right. Go ahead and tell me a little bit about the Osprey and why it's so special.
So the Osprey is a light pale ale. It's got a little bit of citrus on the finish, and it's made with New York State grains and New York State hops.
Wonderful. So this is the one that you can get, and how many different sizes can people get their beers in?
We have a 64-ounce growler and a 32-ounce growler as well. And we have them in stainless steel as well as glass.
This is really good. It's really light, but there's a lot of different flavors that you oftentimes don't get from like big brewery productions. This is very different, very small notes of different things, little citrus, it's so good.
Very refreshing for the summer.
That is very nice. All right, what's next on the list?
Well, let's try the red-footed booby. That's our latest. That's a raspberry wheat.
Who doesn't like a red-footed booby?
There you go. That's a Hefeweizen.
Now, what is known about this one?
Well, it's a raspberry wheat, and Hefeweizen is an unfiltered beer, and you will get the raspberry on the front, and you will get a little bit of banana on the finish.
She's exactly right. I smelled the raspberry right off the top. That is incredible. That's a really good one too. Very, very good. And last but not least,
Let's go with how about a bluebird? That's our chocolate blueberry porter.
oh, please, anything with chocolate in it, no matter if it's liquid or not.
Smell this one before you drink it. It has a beautiful blueberry nose.
Wow.
And then it'll have just a hint of blueberry on the very finish on the back of your tongue.
It's good. And for being so dark, it's not thick. Like, like
No.
a Guinness kind of like sticks in your mouth. It's not
No,
at
it's
all.
very thin bodied. We did that on purpose.
That's incredible. That's really good.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Now, why is it then, did you become part of the brewery trail? You could kind of stand out on your own, but why is it they decided to say, hey, you know what?
They're a great organization. When we first opened, they came to us asking us to join. We said absolutely, because we've got it hanging here on our wall. With all the breweries that are around the Finger Lakes, they have a really nice map, and people just go from one to the other, and we don't sell, we give them the maps. And people love to go to all the different breweries, and now we're becoming a little destination in this area with the other little breweries and Horseheads, and it's a nice thing for people to do on a weekend.
That's really nice. I know you said your husband kind of brought all of this on, but then why, I guess, did you remain so passionate and wanting to bring, you guys have how many 11 different beers here?
11 different beers and a root beer, yes.
So why did you get so passionate now and to be here all the time?
Well, we've been brewing for 23 years. Started out doing the kitchen, then I kicked him out. We went to the garage. And it's just something that we absolutely love doing it. It's just a lot of fun. It's the greatest job I've ever had. It's a lot of hours, but it's just fun. And then people come in and taste it and they love it. That just brings everything full circle,
That's wonderful. Now, how is the community here too? Are the different brewers, you guys hang out outside of work, or is it something that you go to different events and try each other's and kind of bounce around ideas?
Well, when we do a beer festival, we definitely go around and see everybody, but the local ones here, we have a very good relationship with them, and we send people to each of the other breweries right here in town, and we have a very good relationship. We get along very well.
That's great. Now, if someone can't stop in, where can they find you?
Right now, just right here. This is the only, we're working on getting our product in bottles and cans, but we're waiting on the labels.
So really, you have to come in here because this stuff, it's incredible to me. I worked at a wine bar back in Chicago, and you have to try everything in individual taste. And I'm so lucky that I moved to a location where they've now have locally grown, locally produced, and they push that too in New York State. That legislation that's coming through is making it easier for you guys as well, right?
Right, that's right. And we are also in a lot of local bars and restaurants as well.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for being my last stop, and thank you for giving me a few good drinks. Stay tuned. Next week, we got another exciting episode. We're going to go to the great outdoors.